After years of waiting, we finally got to step foot for the first time on EPIC Universe property, staying at the Stella Nova Resort. Hello everybody, welcome. We experienced everything that the Stella Nova Resort had to offer, and I have to say I am shocked at all the negativity I am seeing coming out about this resort. So in this video, I want to take some time and set the record straight. Okay, let's get into it. I am a content creator or influencer or whatever you want to call me. I am one that does not get involved in drama. I like to go to the parks, go to the restaurants, try things, enjoy my time there, and then leave. I don't like to get engaged in gossip. That is just not me. Now, as I said, I have just been shocked at all this negativity that I keep seeing pop up all over social media and in different videos about Stella Nova Resort. Now, usually I would just move along with my day and ignore all that negativity and keep on cruising. But this really just started to bother me because I had such an awesome experience at this hotel that my experience just did not match the way that it's being portrayed by a lot of creators out there. So I want to talk about what is the really reals about this thing. What is the truth about this hotel? And I thought it'd be great to break down some of the biggest complaints that I've been hearing and sort of match them back to what my experience was, so you can get kind of the other side of the story and get a little bit more depth and truth to the situation. So the first biggest complaint that I've heard about Stella Nova was the water situation, the plumbing situation. Apparently, some people did not have hot water, some people did not have cold water. They had some plumbing issues. I will tell you that my particular room was not affected. I had hot water, I had cold water, I had enough water to take a shower, use the sink. I didn't have any issues at all. Now, I will say that when I first turned on the faucet, it was doing a lot of like sputtering where it was trying to basically get gas and things out of the lines. Apparently, the people who maybe have been complaining about this situation, I heard things about like sand coming out of the sink or out of the faucet in the shower, that they were seeing like sand or silt come out in the beginning, and a lot of like sputtering. Apparently, the people who've complained about this have never stayed in anything that's ever been built brand new, where the water has been recently installed or it has been turned off for a prolonged period of time and then turned back on, because this is very common with plumbing issues. Just gas sort of builds up and you have to turn on the faucet and you got to let it run for a while in order for sort of all this stuff to kind of make its way out and clean out, and then it's into normal operating mode. So that to me that happened to me in the sink and in the tub. I didn't really think anything of it. I just let it run for a few seconds and then we were good to go. Now, I will say that if you did not have hot water, I'm not saying that it is an ideal experience, but I really don't think it was that big of a deal. Plumbing issues happen. This is a brand new hotel. So on that particular point, I'm gonna have to leave it up to you whether you feel like that is a non-starter or not. I know that this issue will be fixed immediately, that it's something, I know they had an issue with the plumbing about a week before the hotel opened. They fixed it. And then that likely caused sort of that buildup of gas and things like that, because there wasn't a whole lot of time before then and opening day. So you could say, well, maybe they shouldn't have opened the hotel. How many people would have been mad if they would have decided not to open the hotel on opening day because of that plumbing issue and just canceled everybody's reservations? I feel like people would have been livid, like way more disappointed and upset than the fact that they had a little bit of spurting coming out of their water, or a little bit of sand in the beginning, or maybe they only had cold or hot water, or the water wasn't to their liking as far as the temperature goes. We were the first people staying in that hotel. We were the first people doing it. There's going to be little kinks and bugs. Number two, the leaking water from the ceiling in the Universal store. I saw this water, and you know what I did? I just moved along with my life. I saw the water dripping, and I moved along. Didn't think anything of it other than the fact that there was a little tiny drip coming from the ceiling near the wall where the EPIC Universe merchandise was, and it was dripping down. I saw it and I moved on with my life. Because you know what? I've seen more water from air conditioning condenser units drip in a spot like that than I've seen than that thing was dripping. This wasn't like water dumping from the ceiling. This was like air conditioning condenser drips. Is how light that drip was. Probably a plumbing issue. Apparently they've got a few issues with plumbing. But to me, such a small issue, I can't even imagine that that's something that I would want to call out on a video and say, oh my gosh, there was water dumping from the ceiling. Yeah, no. Number 3 was bad food. Yeah, I do have to say the food was pretty meh. I said that in our video. We did cover that. Heard a lot of other people say the same thing. Food really was just okay. I was hoping for better quick service style food because of all of the things that they're doing at Epic Universe. But again, this is a Lowe's hotel, not technically an Epic Universe or Universal owned property. And so the experience in the food isn't going to match up exactly with what they're trying to do in Epic. Overall, I didn't think the food was bad. I know a lot of people took issue with like, the picture looks like this and the food came out looking like that. Clearly, no one else has ever seen an advertising or a marketing piece of material that shows any food anywhere in history at a restaurant because it never looks like the picture. So for me, I do think the food was sort of a valid complaint, but it was really, oh well, I mean, it's a burger. You can get a burger. If you didn't like their fancy food, get the burger. It was fine. I thought breakfast was great. I got this like breakfast plate that had, I'm not kidding you, I feel like it had 20 pieces of bacon on it. And the bacon was fantastic. The eggs were great. The sausage was great. The biscuit was great. Everything on the potatoes were great. Everything on my plate was awesome. It's kind of hard to mess up breakfast. I get it. But like, to me, the breakfast food was great. The lunch food I had was just okay. Number 4 was long waits for the food at the dinner service on opening day. Yeah, well, I dodged that bullet for sure because you know what we did on opening night? We went over to City Walk because we wanted to take the bus and figure out how long did the bus take to get from the hotel over to City Walk. Spoiler, it takes about 11 to 12 minutes. They actually get to go through some of the sections of Epic Universe, those roadways there to get there, which saves them some time to get there. Even though the circle and the highway isn't finished, it still saves some time to go on the back roads. But we went to City Walk for dinner. So apparently we were, we either got lucky or we were the smart ones. We went to City Walk, had cowfish, which was awesome as usual. And by the time we got back, everything was hunky-dory. But apparently the lines were really rough for dinner service. And of course they're going to be. Why? Because the hotel, although it was only operating at 50% capacity, it was full at 50% capacity. And guess what? Pretty much everybody at that hotel was wanting to eat dinner at the same time because no one was going to the parks. They were there for the hotel. So this was a completely unusual, different circumstance that's never going to happen ever again. Long waits for dinner was a one-time occurrence because of the fact that everyone was there to see the hotel and nobody was going to the parks. Number 5 is the lights. People didn't like the motion detector lights. They were complaining about them, saying that the lights wouldn't stay on if they were not moving enough in the room, or when they were trying to sleep, the lights kept turning on. I don't know what they're talking about. We were in our room quite a bit. Never had the lights turn off on me. Never. Not one time. When we were sleeping, never had the lights turn on. But then again, I don't know. I don't do like backflips and somersaults in my bed. I guess. I don't know. But there are switches on the lights to turn them on and off, and then there's the motion detector. So I'm not really sure what the issue with the lights was. I didn't have any problem with it. To me, again, seems kind of like a small thing to really vent about. And number 6 is the rain, the sound, the noise from the rain. Now, it was raining on and off the entire time we were there, all through the night, during the daytime, and I will say that it's possible there could have been some noise from the rain, but I don't feel like it was that dramatic. We were on the top floor. We heard absolutely no noise from above us, and we also heard no noise coming from the tiles on the walls or the rain hitting the windows. We heard none of that. But we were on the side of Stella Nova that I believe was facing kind of away from the direction the rain was coming. The reason I say that is because our window had no water on it for the most part because it was being protected. So the rain was coming from like here, and maybe this was the window, so it was hitting the building. If it would have been coming from this direction and hitting the window, our window would have had water all over it. But it didn't, so I had a clear view of the park the whole night. But I did go down to the end of the hallway at one point to get a different view of Epic Universe, and I couldn't even see through the window because there was so much water on it that it beat it up from the rain just hitting it and the water coming down that I couldn't even see Epic Universe through the window. So depending on what side you're on of the building, I can definitely see the rain hitting you a little bit harder. But as I was at that window, I really didn't notice a lot of sound or anything from the rain. I got news for everybody. I've been to hotels before where it's rained really hard. Even my house, if it rains really hard and it hits the glass, I can hear it. I can hear it hitting the building. And so I'm not really sure. I feel like that's kind of a non-issue unless you're a really light sleeper. That might bother you, but I have no idea how that is the fault of Lowe's or the Stella Nova Hotel or the designs, just because there are tiles out there the rain is hitting. But to me, I just feel like that was a bit much to say that the rain was super loud, overly loud, louder than it's anywhere else, because I didn't hear that at all. And then number 7, I heard complaining about the parking situation, the parking costs. Now, I didn't get any special like things ahead of time that were telling me what one price of the parking was, and then it was different when I showed up. I really didn't pay a whole lot of attention to that. I didn't feel like the wool was pulled over my eyes. It was $30 to park in the overnight parking, which I feel like is a reasonable price. I'm not a fan of charging for parking at hotels. I will say that. I'm not a fan. When Disney tried to incorporate charges for parking at their hotels, people were outraged. And then they eventually rolled it back because people were stopped. They were like not going to the parks. They were like that mad about it. So they did roll that back. But realistically, they're just including the price of the parking into your stay now. So you're not really saving a whole lot of money. For people who don't have a car and visit these hotels, it's a non-issue. You know, you're taking the bus from the airport or whatever. You're coming into the Stella Nova, and you don't have to pay to park. You know, you're taking all the transportation to get everywhere, and that's your vacation. For people who drive, it does kind of stink to have to pay $30. I feel like that's kind of the norm with hotels nowadays. Now, the $65 a night for parking for visitors, people keep talking about like visitors. Who's visiting Stella Nova? Why are you, who's visiting? You should have to pay $65 if you're visiting Stella Nova. If you want to visit Stella Nova and you don't want to pay $65 for parking, then book a hotel stay there. And then you only have to pay $30 a night for the parking. The reason that it's $65 for visitors is because they don't want people parking there and then walking to EPIC Universe. They don't want visitors hanging out at Stella Nova. Like, they want guests staying at Stella Nova. So to me, complaining about that $65 charge, I don't get it. So maybe I'm being a little bit too positive. Maybe I'm, because I didn't really experience these issues. It felt really weird to me. But to be honest, I feel like if you go looking for problems, you usually find them. I know that's our role. That's my role. Like, I go to these parks, I go to these restaurants, and I do try to be very honest and transparent about my experience. But I also try to have realistic expectations. And so for me to go and to say that Stella Nova, the opening was a disaster, and it was such a rocky start for EPIC Universe, feels to me like people are reaching really hard. It feels like sensationalism to me. It doesn't feel like reality. I would have absolutely no qualms about recommending you should stay at Stella Nova. I think it's an awesome place. And again, different content creators, different influencers are going to do what they're going to do. I will tell you I will give you a tip. So we did videos on Stella Nova. You can watch them. You'll get the really reels about it. Also, I do want to recommend, because I watched their video and I thought it was really good. It kind of did show some of the negative things that they experienced, but they did it in such a way that it really made sense. And it wasn't sensationalism at all. Check out Cool K Adventures, their channel. They did a great video on Stella Nova. I feel like the way that they presented the pros and cons, it was just fantastic. So I highly recommend. They did a great job. So that being said, I'm also guilty of overhyping and puffery and all those sorts of things. I'm not gonna say I'm not. It's hard not to get hyped up about stuff. But in this particular case, I just feel like it was unwarranted. I don't feel like the negativity is deserved for Stella Nova. The service, the people, everything, they just did such a great job. Could they have tested a little bit more? Sure, yes. Could they have opened later? Sure, they could have postponed a little bit. But you know what? Like I said, people would have been outraged, mad, horrified. They would have been so upset. That would have been the wrong move, in my opinion. Opening it the way they did was the right move. Was it worth the money? Absolutely, 100%. It was, to me, it was super cheap relative to the value that I got out of the experience. I don't feel like you're gonna find a better deal for EPIC Universe or for Universal. I just think it's a great hotel. It's probably one of the best value resorts I've ever stayed at a theme park. So I do want to say that the guest services, the hotel staff, when we checked out, they asked us, and this is the first time I've ever had hotel staff say this to me in this way, is they were asking us seriously what our feedback was. Like they wanted nuggets. They were like probing and digging, and I was like, no, we had no issues, everything was great. And they were like, you can tell us. Like they were really digging. They were saying, you don't have to lie. Like, tell me the truth. Anything, it helps us. We'll get better. Any small issue, anything at all that you experienced that you want to let us know to improve your stay. And I literally had 0 things to say. I had 0 complaints. Everything was awesome for us. So for me, that just speaks volumes, because I will be totally transparent and honest. If I have some issue, I will let them know. And I had nothing to say. So I think that says a lot. So there you have it. That's my honest take. I've done other Stella Nova videos. You can check them out as well. I'll link to them below. But I just felt like I had to do this video because I keep seeing all this negativity. My friends, my family, people keep sending me stuff saying, I keep hearing all these bad things, and this is like a bad start for Epic Universe. And I'm like, hold up. No, this is not reflecting reality at all. So I was like, you know what? I need to do a video. So hopefully for any of you that watch this video, that sets the record straight. Love to hear from you in the comments. Were you there? Did you experience something different? Do you have other complaints that you've heard about that we didn't address? Love to hear from them. But if you are as excited as I am for Epic Universe, be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification button so you know my next video drops, because I got a ton more Epic Universe content coming. So once again, thanks for watching. And of course, the noble way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.